Yes. What is good, guys? Welcome to the channel. I hope you're doing well wherever you are in the world. This is another episode of Diameter, and today we are going to look at boom boom boom. This is the Rollerblade Lightning 80mm version. As you may or may not know, I've been using the 90mm version, which is the grey boot, for about a year now. I initially did a review on that about a year ago, and that was pretty much the first time I'd ever skated, well, implies the Lightning. So that review was more based on how they initially felt on that day and the first time ever trying them on. So I figured I got a new pair, thank you Rollerblade, so I thought I would kind of delve back in and kind of let you guys know how they perform over a longer period of time, how they hold up, if there's like, you know, what the pros and cons, because if you're thinking of buying a set, I think I might have some valuable information for you which kind of might help you make your decision. There's one difference I've made to these skates. So they do straight out the box come with this liner, which is a black and light blue colorway to match the rest of the skate. Obviously it looks really, really good. I love it. But personally, I like to skate the Nomad liner, which is also from Rollerblade. I've been using that, I think, for a year as well. So that line is still going strong, but I'm going to put that back into this skate purely because it fits my foot really well. But we're going to kind of delve back into that later in the video anyway, as to why I put that in. So yeah, that's the main difference, is the liner. But other than that, I've not changed anything else. Lace is the same, wheels are the same. Obviously, I don't know if you know or not, but I do ride for Rollerblade. So you might think this may be a bit more biased towards the skate, but truly, I wouldn't skate a skate unless I didn't enjoy it. That's number one priority there. So I am going to give you the most honest review I can about these, and definitely give you like the pros and cons to what I found skating them over the year. So yeah, thank you Rollerblade for these. This isn't a paid video, this is just purely to try and help you guys, the viewer, if you're looking to buy a set, and yeah, like I said, give you some, hopefully some valuable information, and you know, you can come away from the video deciding yes or no whether you want to buy a set. So we'll get these on, we'll go into the streets because we're in the woods, not going to skate here. Let's get these skates on and let's break them down and get some information over to you guys. Let's go. Okay, we're good. I've got my skates on my feet, so we're ready to go. But before we do that, I just wanted to talk about the liner that comes as standard with the Lightning 80. So obviously it comes in this nice little colorway. You've got the black with the light blue, which matches my sleeping bag for my van. So as I said, I've got the Nomad liner in the skate at the moment because that's what I prefer. I did skate these on the Rollerblade Lightning 90mm setup that I had prior to these. So I can kind of tell you how these do feel. The comfort, top notch, 10 out of 10. Rollerblade do always come through the quality when it comes to liners. Really comfortable. They've got some like air holes at the bottom there just to let the ventilation through. The one thing I do like about this is that you can lace all the way up into here. So you can technically lace up through the skate there, and then this extra lace here would loop up into these holes. So you can get a nice grip around the top of your ankle, which is really good. And I found with these skates especially that it's good to have that tightness secured in around the top of your ankle, which is going to keep you more secure, and it kind of makes you feel like you're more at one with the skate. I know it's quite cheesy to say, but it's kind of like, it's how it feels, you know. It comes with really nice insole actually. This performance skate insole. The liners themselves, they look cool, they feel good. I can't give too much on the longevity of these because yeah, I literally only skated them for like probably a couple weeks, but yeah, they were holding up pretty well. So that's only the one thing I can't really give you too much information on. This is technically the women's version of the skate, so also as well, because this is the UK 7, this is going to be too tight for my foot. So hence having the Nomad liner in, because they've already kind of molded to my foot, they're a little bit thinner, and yeah, they just make my skating experience a little bit more enjoyable for myself, which is why I've got them in instead of these. But these were to fit me properly, I mean, look at them, they're well cool. So yeah, that's all I can really say about the liner, but we'll get cracking on with the skating now, see how we get on. Boom. Okay, so let's go with the initial feel of these skates. We're going to start from the bottom upwards and we're going to work through this video working out each part of the skate. So the first initial feel is the comfort. They feel super comfortable, and the next thing is they feel rapid on your feet. It does 90% of the work for you. All you've got to do is push and you're just going to roll and roll and roll. And a lot of that is to do with the wheels and the bearings. So they come with 18mm rollerblade wheels. SG7 bearings, the same bearings come in the Rollerblade 90, which I had for a year. Those bearings held up amazing, by the way. They went through like sun, like intense heat, snow, rain, sand, grit, everything, you name it, they went through it and they were still holding up really well. They did get a little bit rusty, I'm not gonna lie, but again, I think that's just purely down to the fact of me using them a hell of a lot in all conditions. They come with an 18mm frame, so it's 243mm in length. It's a flat rocker, so that means all four wheels, 1, 2, 3, 4, are going to be touching the floor to begin with. So there's no rocker on them at all. You can only put 18mm wheels in them. You can't upgrade to a different size unless you put a different frame on. The frame's super easy to get on and off. It's just a bolt at the front, a bolt at the back. But yeah, initial feel, banging, comfortable and quick. That's my two biggest things that I need in a skate. So yeah, these are feeling good. They look wicked. So yeah, let's crack on and do some skating. Right, I just wanted to add that if you already skate 80mm on your current skates, these are going to feel very similar in terms of how they turn, how quick they are, sort of stiffness of the frame. I feel they're probably all going to be quite similar. One thing I want to point out is pressure points in this skate. Now, I've got quite a wider foot. I don't get any pressure on the front of the skate. I'll get to that in a minute. But I do get a slight bit of pressure every now and then, depending on how long I've had my skates on for, on the side of my skate, about there. So I basically got like two sort of like little bones sticking out the side of my feet. In certain skates, there's an instant pressure point and I just can't put the skate on. But with these skates and the twisters, I don't get that pressure point. The only reason I get it with these is, like I said, if I've had them on for a long, long time, and I'm talking like 6 hours, something like that, or the 45-degree strap, that one, let's get a better thing, is too tight. Now, sometimes if I have to sit down, I might just release that buckle just to relieve a bit of pressure off the side of my foot, and as soon as I click it back in, that pressure's gone. So that's the only sort of pressure point I've got over the year. Like I said, I've had none in my heel, none in the toes. It just seems to be on the side. So I would say that these skates are well suited for a wider foot, but if you've got a really, really wide foot, then maybe not so much. You might be better off with the RB80 or the Pro X. But the Lightning, I would say, is kind of a good in-between of the Twister XT and the Rollerblade RB80 or Pro X. So they're kind of smack bang in the middle. So there's also one major thing I wanted to point out with these skates. I'm normally a UK 8, right? So every skate I've ever had has been a UK 8. I originally got these in a size UK 8 and I noticed there was about that much room between, let me flip this around, between the front of the boot and the liner. So the liner felt like it was ending about there, and then there was about that much room in the front and I could feel my toe pushing forward because there was a lot of room in there. And I measured it up against my twister, against a UK 8 twister, and the boot was physically longer. The Lightning boot was physically longer than the twister, so I was like, maybe I need to downsize to a UK 7 in the Lightning to match the size of the twister I had before I was skating the Lightnings. Got the size 7, exchanged them over, and it was perfect. It was basically the right shell size. Again, I put the Nomad liner in because it's slightly thinner, and that seemed to make all the world of difference. So technically I've had to downsize to a UK 7 instead of an 8, but that doesn't necessarily mean, because it's technically a smaller size, that it's a smaller boot. I don't think it is. I feel this UK 7 boot should technically be a UK 8 boot. So yeah, that's one major thing to point out. So I'd honestly advise, if you can get out and try the skates on before you buy them, this is the biggest advice I can give you on these skates, because yeah, they do kind of fit a little bit longer than usual. Because I did find if skates are a bit too long, or if they're a bit too long or a bit too small, they're going to affect how you skate. They're going to affect your foot, everything up to your knees. So you want to make sure you're getting a right fitting skate. It's just like trainers. You don't want to do a marathon in trainers that don't fit right. It's just not going to be very nice. So yeah, if you can do that, or measure your foot up, go into skate shops and they've probably got like a size measure thing to whatever size skates you need and stuff like that. So number one tip. Okay, I forgot to point out before, but these are a 165 mount skate. So I just wanted to show you how quick and responsive this frame is at doing quick turns. So yeah, at high speed, good for turns, you just got to lean into it, but the wheels are very responsive, the frame's responsive, the boot keeps you locked in, but also gives you that bit of movement to be able to lean into the turn. So very good on turning, nice and quick, and you're deep into your turns. They hold up super well, no pressure points on the turns. Okay, right, I'm a little bit sweaty, but I just want to talk about the actual boot itself. The boot comes with all of these kind of like different holes in the boot, which is really good for letting the air flow through into your skate. They are underneath as well. This does actually make a huge difference, and especially matched up with the Nomad liner, because it's a bit thinner, you can actually feel the wind almost coming through your feet. So on those really hot, sweaty days, it does actually keep your feet pretty cool, which is quite a good one. Only downside is when it's really cold, you can your feet can get a bit colder, a bit quicker. So that's the only downside with that. But yeah, these do really, really help, and they make the skate just that little tiny bit lighter. The plastic, I feel the plastic's a little bit softer in these than what it is on the Twister and the RB80 and Pro X. But good thing I like with the softness of the plastic is that it's not giving you those pressure points around the top of your foot. So I guess there's like a little bit more give, which is quite nice, but the only downside is if you don't do your skate up really tight, that can probably be a bit of a disadvantage because it's a little bit softer. But also, I've not really had any issues with it. Done marathons with these skates. Me and Amber, my girlfriend, we were skating around New York for like 12 hours straight a day for like 6 days. And I didn't have any problems with what the plastic was like. These are really good at kind of like hugging your feet. And yeah, I think they look nice. I think they look wicked. I want to mention the wear and tear of these skates as well. So the ones I had prior, I was skating them for a year, and the boot is still technically immaculate, even though it's got a few like scrapes and scratches on. The actual boot itself, it's fine. The plastic hasn't softened up. There's no cracks, which is really important. The cuff is still super strong. The durability of the skate is top notch. I honestly thought when I first got them and I held them and I put them on my feet, I was like, I'm not sure whether these skates are going to hold up, kind of jumping about, taking a bit of a beating. And honestly, like truly honestly, they've really exceeded my expectations on that, because I put my grey ones through their paces big time, and I mean I could still skate them now for sure. I could just stick a new frame and wheels on them and they feel exactly the same as this boot. So yeah, gotta give it to Rollerblade on that. The quality of the boot itself, it's held up really, really well. So talking of the boot as well, they come in different colorways. So essentially the boot is always going to be the same, but you're just going to have different size wheels and different frames. So you can get a grey boot, the white boot, which is this one, and a black boot, which you can either get black and pink or black and lime. If you want different colorways, there are options. You just might have to have different kind of size wheel setups with it, but look at that. That is lovely. I am feeling these big time, and the wheels now are almost kind of going greenish a little bit. So I'm going to try and keep these as fresh as I can, but yeah, we shall see. So let's talk about this a little bit, the toe protector. Again, it is replaceable. It does its job. On my grey ones, which I'll put a picture up of now, you can see that it is getting slightly worn out, but that means it's doing its job, because yeah, when you do slide out, it tends to take a lot of the brunt of the force when you do hit the floor. So that's a nice little touch there. It does protect the skate quite well. Obviously got a few little scuffs there, but you got to think, if that wasn't there, see all these little marks, then I'd have more of that on the actual boot. So this is going to make your skate last a lot longer, as you can see on my old set. So I just want to talk about the buckles on these skates. So you got these two things on the inside. So this is essentially the memory buckle, right? So these 2 points on the inside, you've got these 3 little marks, okay? So on the outside of the boot, you've got the buckles here, right? Where you can adjust, I don't know if you can see, you can adjust the tightness of the buckle in there. So you can determine how tight they go, right? So when you put the buckle around, you can kind of choose your tightness. So if you put it on the third one there, tighten it up, it's going to really tighten that skate around the 45-degree angle. I tend to have mine on like kind of a middle setting. You do the buckle up, and then you can determine here how tight that is. You really want to hear that click, because that means it's nice and secure. It's going to be nice and tight, and it's the same with this top one. Now, I originally thought these buckles were not going to hold up jumping around, but I'll check some videos up now to show you from the skate I had before, and just how hardy these little buckles can be and how well they actually do hold up when it comes to jumping around, just skating around. If they get like smacked onto the concrete, they are actually a lot tougher than what they think. You may not think it sometimes, because they might not always quite fully close up like that. Sometimes they slightly raise like that, but they are definitely still locked in. And the beauty of it is, if you do get some pressure points along here, you can just release that pressure for just like a minute or so, and then as soon as you tie that back down, it's going to be the exact same tightness that it was before. So that is the beauty of it. One thing I've noticed over time, and it's always best to carry one around anyway, is they can get a bit loose here. Once they start wobbling about like that, it means this little screw is coming loose. So get your trusty little Allen key, and literally all you got to do, give that little tighten, make sure it's nice and straight, and you're good to go again. So yeah, that's one thing I've noticed with these buckles, is that little screw may come loose, like, I don't know, once every couple of weeks, once a week, something like that. So you just got to keep an eye on it. And again, with the axles, they actually hold in pretty well. I've not had to tighten them up much. But yeah, the buckles, honestly, they're really good. Really good for getting that perfect fit each and every time. The lacing system on the liner, now what I do like with the liner that they do come with is that, yeah, you can lace it up through here, and then you can lace it up through the liner. What I do with these is, I've kind of come to notice over time that if you've got a plastic boot, laces don't actually do a whole lot. So I don't tighten these up incredibly tight, because they're not going to do too much. So I tie my laces up to there, and then I'm tightening up this liner really tight on the inside, because the Nomad liner, you can tie it up from the top of the thing here and it goes all the way down. So I'm just going to show you really quick how good these memory buckles are. So the last time I took them off, my skates felt great. I can literally tie up the inside liner first, nice and tight. Strap that across, lock that in, it feels exactly how it did before. And the same with that one. I'm using the middle bit, latching that in, and then I'm just tying, and then yeah, good to go. And that is the memory buckle. So again, you can choose whichever one. That's going to feel a bit too loose. Middle one, perfect tightness. And that, if I want it really tight, boom, I can just strap that in, and that is keeping the heel of my foot fully locked into that skate. So right now I can feel that this skate needs tightening up a little bit, probably around the 45-degree strap. So I'm pulling that bit back ever so slightly, getting onto that middle one, and boom, that is locked in. So I'm going to get that same tightness each and every time I put that skate on now, because it's going to remember the tightness of the skate. So, oh, sorry.
So cool.
Thank you. So much for not jumping around. That's all I'm doing. So they're really nice with just cruising about. Like, you don't have to do anything too heavy, too hectic, just getting from A to B. They're just a nice skate to have on your feet. And I found that with skating them for so long now that they're just easy to get on with, these skates. There's nothing too much to them, it's just lace them up, do the two buckles, and you're kind of good to go. So yeah, I think they're a good range skate from, you know, for beginners all the way to kind of advanced, because obviously they come with a brake, so that helps with beginners. And then with the advanced skating, you know, they're strong, they hold up, they kind of just do their job really. So yeah, and the fact you can choose different wheel sizes with them kind of shows they're a bit more versatile to people's different needs of skating. So yeah, I think they're just a good skate, an easy skate to get along with, basically. So up next is shock absorption. So I've jumped off a few things on these skates over the past sort of year. They've held up really well in terms of I've not had any bruised heels, no like back pain from doing higher drops, or any knee pain. So for me, that's the ultimate win, is that these have really good shock absorbers. The skate feels pretty flat, so the shock absorber isn't like raised up at the back of your foot, which is quite nice. So, you know, you can really slam your feet down. They feel, you kind of hear that nice solid sounding sound, that thud. You can tell that it's absorbing the shock really, really well. The wheels help, good wheels always help as well. So yeah, the shock absorption, 10 out of 10. I've done some bigger drops, probably like just a bit over head height, and you can start to feel it a little bit then with the shock going kind of like up through your legs. It's kind of a limit you can kind of go on them, but if you're just jumping off like little curbs, little ledges, you're going to be absolutely fine with these. And the shock absorption also works really well with like rough ground. You don't really feel it much. If you go into it nice and fast, you can just roll through it and it's still going to feel like relatively smooth. The cuff, nice and solid. I think I've mentioned before, it's really good to do these skates up nice and tight. Sometimes I've felt over the past year that I've had to tighten this top buckle up and along with the liner as well after maybe like half an hour skating, just because you're kind of moving about, so you just need to readjust the skate, get it nice and tight. And I cannot stress that enough, having your skate nice and snug and tight is like key to good performance. You don't want it too tight where you're just like, oh, this is hurting, but you just want it to feel nice and secure around your foot, which is what these skates do really well. The 45-degree strap works really good with the memory buckles, and then being able to lace up into the actual liner itself, great combination. So yeah, shocks, perfectly fine on these. So another thing I found with these skates, because it is a softer plastic boot, I feel like when I push off, I've got a bit more kind of play with the boot. So it kind of works around my foot a little bit as I'm kind of pushing off like this. Especially like quicker movements, it's not restricting my foot. Like if you have like a bit of a harder boot, you might not be able to be quite as agile. So it's kind of one thing I do like about the softer plastic is, yeah, it moves with your foot, so to speak, which, yeah, I'm actually quite a fan of. Talking about before with the plastic kind of working around your foot, so with quick starts they're quite good because you can bend into it and kind of bend away from it, so you're like, okay, so this is the important part. What are the pros and cons of the Rollerblade Lightning series, not just the 80s? So I'm going to start with the pros. So the comfort's amazing. They're super lightweight. The memory buckle is really good. The whole skate performs really well. You've got a different variety of like wheel sizes, all the way from 80, 90 up to 110. So you've got a whole choice there. And they just look good, they just look nice. I mean, Lightning was the original rollerblade skate, so it's nice that they've kind of gone back to the name of that skate. It's just like a nice little throwback and a kind of nod to inline skating in general. So yeah, good quality skate, really good price point. And yeah, these skates are a bit of a head turner. So they've got some cool colorways. You've got black and pink, you've got black and lime green, you've got the white and blue, and you've just got white and black, I believe, which is the 110 set. So yeah, the pros, there's a lot of pros, but we do need to address the cons. So these are the personal cons for myself for this skate. So number one is, because I've got a slightly wider foot, there are times where I've said in a video prior to this that I've had to release that buckle just for a few minutes, just to kind of ease up on the wideness of my foot, because I've got those two little bones sticking out, which is super annoying. So yeah, I guess for me, I could do with the skate being a tad bit wider just on the side of the skate. Probably as well, the softness of the plastic. Even though it is great, it is really good for moving about, getting those movements, pushing off. When I've gone back to like twisters and a harder boot, I do feel a little bit more just kind of snug and secure in my skate. And like what I said before, where I feel it's really important to feel really like locked into your skate. These, I do feel locked in, but I do feel like, especially around the top buckle there, I could probably do with it feeling just a little bit more snug, just ever so slightly. But again, it's not affecting my performance. That's just a personal thing where I'm like, probably do with just a little bit more tightness around there. Just when you're moving around very quick and you're jumping stuff. And I think the only other downside is the fact that I have to tighten up the 45-degree buckle every now and then. If I don't have a screwdriver on me, it could cause a bit of an issue, because they do loosen up quite a lot when they do start to come loose. They really start to come loose. So it's just something to, just another thing you've got to kind of be aware of when you're out and about skating. You won't tend to notice it so much until you've taken the skate off. Once you're locked in, even if it is loose, it should be all right. It's just, yeah, as soon as you unclip it, you start seeing it flapping about, and that's when you're kind of like, okay, I need to tighten this up now. So most people normally have an Allen key, but not everyone always has like a screwdriver head on them. So that's, I think that's probably the only cons I've got about this skate. And other than that, the overall performance of the skate is, I'm gonna go 8 out of 10 for these skates. So I feel there's still a little bit of room for improvement. But I do feel that they are good for all types of skating. So whether you're a beginner, you're just cruising around like I am now, you're learning stuff, you can chuck the brake on. If you want to do urban skating like myself, they're really good for jumping around. Like I said, the shock absorber is really good. They're really good off the mark at getting speed, and they're comfortable. And if you're looking to do long distance, which I've done a marathon on these, did the Berlin Marathon, they held up really well then. So, and that was with a 110, that was on 80 mil actually. I have stuck a 110 frame on them, and again, still felt really nice, but actually, let's go back a step. So back to the cons. When I did have the 110s on, when I was saying about the top of my skate here, feeling a little bit, not quite so tight, I could have done with that more so with the 110s, because you're higher up. This is a bit more play with your foot. So yeah, going forward again, overall performance, yeah, they're kind of good for all types of skating. So yeah, I think if you're looking to buy a set, I do highly recommend them. They look cool. They have sold out quite a lot of places, so I think that's a testament to how good these skates are and how popular they are. And I'm looking forward to more colorways and stuff in the future from Rollerblade with these skates. So if you've got a pair, I'd love to know how you're getting on with them. Leave a comment below. I'd also really appreciate if you haven't subscribed, I'd really love a little sub. Click that sub button and give this video a like. It's going to really help grow the channel. And that's my aim on here, is to kind of help and give you guys the best advice as I can, and just explore the world on skates and just kind of show you how much fun it can be. So thank you for watching. This has been the Rollerblade Lightning 80, and I will see you on the next one, because now I am going for a skate. See you later, guys. One last thing I forgot to mention, so having a shock absorber on my old skate, even after a year, it still felt the same from when I first had it. So having these on compared to my old one, there's absolutely no difference in the shock absorption. So even after a year of hard hitting drops, the shock absorber has just stayed feeling brand new. So you kind of stand the test of time a little bit if you're skating around.